Hey there. So, are you wanting to create some positive affirmations for your morning routine, your vision board, but you're not really sure where to start? Or did you know that affirmations can actually be one of the most powerful mental strategies for building your belief, for conquering fear, and for staying focused on your goals in every area of your life, not just in your business, but in every area in your life? Well, in today's or this week's episode, but today we are going to share 4 simple steps for creating your own affirmations that you can use not only in business, but this can strengthen your health, your wealth, and your relationships.
Hey there, everybody. I'm Jordan Maley, and I'm here today with my mom and business partner, Kathy Schneider. We are the co-founders of the Global Freedom Community, and we help driven network marketers with the simple strategies to grow your business quickly online without confusion and overwhelm. As you're coming on this morning, say good morning. Let us know you're here. If you're watching the replay, say replay. And if this is your first time tuning in to one of our live episodes, definitely let us know, because we'd love to come back through and introduce ourselves and say hello to you. So good morning, Annabella. Great to see you here. Every single week, we come out with a brand new episode of Coffee with K&J. And so if you're watching this over on our new YouTube channel, we would love it if you would become a subscriber to make sure you don't ever miss a new episode or any of the resources that we release that go along with each episode, because we provide full recaps and downloadable resources for every single episode over on our blog. And you can check out the description below for the link. Also, it's scrolling across the bottom of your screen. Good morning, Christy. And hello to whoever said hi both. Sometimes Facebook doesn't show us your name, but we're super excited. Hey, Denise, great to see you guys here this morning. So today we're talking about affirmations. Let's jump in and get started, Mom.
Yeah, absolutely. So an affirmation opens the door, okay? It's a beginning point on the path to change. I love this quote because it just kind of helps us to understand what an affirmation is. And I love this analogy. It opens the door, okay? Mm-hmm. It's like it opens your mind. I was actually talking to a coaching client about this yesterday and explaining to her how one of our affirmations, like we use affirmations, which we're going to get more into this during today's live with you guys, but how we use affirmations and what it does, it kind of like exactly this. It opens the door. It helps you to like come up with ideas that you otherwise wouldn't have come up with, because you're like, you've got this affirmation going on and you're repeating it every day. And then one day, like, you're like, oh, I have an idea. I know how I can make that happen. And so it is. It's like it opens the door to ideas. It opens your mind to, like this says, a path to change. Okay. So it just opens that up. I love that analogy.
Well, and it's so cool because, so often when we have big goals or we're trying to get somewhere, we get so bogged down in the how am I going to get there? Mm-hmm. And affirmations help you let go of that and just focus on the getting there. And then in the background, your subconscious mind starts thinking about how you're going to make that happen, right?
Which you come up with solutions, exactly. You come up with solutions. So I love it. Love it.
Absolutely. So today we're going to be talking about how to create your own affirmations. Okay. So maybe you are a member of our Global Freedom Community Facebook group. If you're not, and you're watching this over on YouTube, there's a link to join the group right in the description below. But maybe you are a member and you see our daily Kickstart affirmations that we share in there every single morning. We've been doing that for over 3 years now in that group. And, but maybe you're wondering, okay, like these are really good, but I want to make some that are more specific to me and my specific goals. So today we're going to be talking about how to come up with ideas for creating your own affirmations. And then you can download our 20 Entrepreneur Affirmations. It's a PDF guide we've put together for you. There are over 20 examples of affirmations specifically for entrepreneurs in this download. And so that'll kind of give you an idea of how to structure your affirmations, maybe what formula to use as you're writing them out. So today's all about how to get ideas for your affirmations. And then if you want the formula for actually writing them down, go ahead and head over to globalfreedomcommunity.com/53 to download that resource right now. You'll get 20 examples you can use, and you'll be able to use that as inspiration for creating your own.
Yeah. So, what are affirmations? Let's talk about the definition of what an affirmation is. It's a tool for improving your mental programming. Okay, that sounds almost kind of like way out there, right? But it's not. It actually just changes your mindset. Okay, it's just a way that you can change your mindset. And so, an affirmation is a statement, okay, about something that you want to be true in your life or in your business. Okay, so it's something that you make a statement as if it already is. Okay, so this is like how you want it to be. It's not a wish, okay? It's not a dream. It's a statement of how you want it to be. And anyway, we've heard some people will refer to them as lies that you tell yourself. I don't really like that analogy because I don't think of them as lies. It's like it's inevitable, okay? It's like this is what it's going to be. This is what's going to be in my life, whatever that is, or in my business. And so it's just a statement of what you want it to be. Love that.
Absolutely. Such a good example. So we have 4 simple steps for creating your affirmations. Okay. And we're going to go over each one of them right now in the video for you. While you're watching live, those of you who are hanging out, drop us a comment. Have you ever used affirmations before? Okay. Is this a new concept to you? Let us know. Is this something that you use on a regular basis? Because I know when I first heard about affirmations, I was like, that's a little out there. That's a little weird, right? But now, like, I look over on this wall in my office and I have 10 affirmations written out and I read them every single day. And it is what it does for your creativity and your ability to get into solution mode is just so, so powerful. So step number 1 is to write out a result that you are committed to and why you are committed to that result. Okay. And I love that it says why you committed to this result because, so we want to be a millionaire, right? That's a good affirmation, but why? Like, what is that going to do for you? Because so often the idea of being a millionaire, it's cool. That's great. But if you don't really get to lock in on the benefits of becoming a millionaire, maybe all of a sudden that stress that you feel at the end of the month is lifted off of you, right? Maybe now you get to travel and go to the places you want to go. Maybe it changes some of the things and the experiences that you're able to have with your family, right? It allows you to give back more. It allows you to impact more people. There's all these benefits to becoming a millionaire. Those are the benefits that motivate us and keep us going. Just becoming a millionaire, that's not very motivating. It's why you want to become a millionaire. That's what's motivating. So Hal Elrod is one of our favorite authors. He's written The Miracle Morning, which is just one of the best books. We highly, highly recommend it. And he says, don't start with what you want, right? We all want things, but you need to start with what you're committed to. Okay. So again, maybe I want to become a marathon runner. I see Denise is on here. Denise runs marathons. Guess what? I might want to become a marathon runner, but I'm not really committed like Denise is to running. I ran a mile the other day and I was very proud of myself, right? And so like I'm not really committed to doing what I need to do to become a millionaire, right? So write out a result that you're really committed to and then why you are committed to that result, okay? So it's just a different way of thinking about, it's a little bit of a reality check, I guess you could say, right, Mom? It's like, well, I want to have this. Well, why? And are you really committed to getting there?
Right, absolutely. Then next, you've got to write out the actions that you're committed to taking and when you're going to take those actions. Okay, so if you skip the step, guys, I mean, like it honestly, it all goes together. You got to do it all. Okay, you got to do all these pieces. Yeah, Denise says, "Great job in your mile." Denise knows Jordan and Jordan's non-ability to run, so she finds that very funny, and I find it very funny too. So anyway, it's pretty cool. But Denise she's very committed.
I'm getting better at it. So.
I forget. I'll have to. Denise, tell us how many days now have you ran? I think it's a mile every day minimum. She runs much more than that most days, but I know she's on this streak, and I know it's been several years. So, but I don't know how many days. So she'll have to tell us in the comments. Okay. So the more specific, the better. Because here's the thing. It's like Jordan talked about a while ago about being, the commitment to running. Okay. She's not committed. So if you're not actually committed to actually taking the actions, okay, and you don't actually include when you're going to do it, what happens? What happens to what we don't schedule? We don't specify when it's going. We're just like someday or one day. What happens? It doesn't happen, right? Or it just keeps getting put off. So if you want to be
I'm going to recruit people in my business.
When? Oh, someday.
Someday. It's going to happen. They're just going to come on in, right? Yeah. Exactly. That's another example.
Yeah. And that's one thing we want to clarify with 961 days. Is that not crazy? At least a mile a day. And I remember even when she had the flu, she still got her mile in with fever. So
and for those of you that are watching on other platforms and can't see that comment, Denise has run a mile 961 days in a row. Yeah. That's commitment.
That's commitment. Yeah. And that's what it takes. That's what it takes in order to do the marathon. That's what it takes. So whatever it is, it's the consistency and the commitment. Okay. And she knows she's going to do this every day. So in Jordan's example, when she was saying like, you want to be a millionaire. Okay. Well, of course everyone wants to, but you've got to clarify. Okay. You've got to clarify like what you're going to do in order to make that happen. Okay. And then when are you going to take those actions? So you want to include, these are the other things you're going to include in the statement.
Absolutely. The frequency that you're going to take these actions, how many of these actions, and the time frame. So for example, if you want to hit the top rank in your company, that's a really good affirmation. I'm so happy and grateful that I am, platinum elite director, Galaxy Commander 5, right? Like that's pretty cool. But what actions are you committed to getting that done? I'm so happy and grateful that I sponsor one new person into my business every single week. I'm so happy and grateful that I effortlessly invite 2 people a day to look at my business. Now, all of a sudden, you're taking your big affirmation and you're breaking it down into the actionable steps that you're going to have to take to get there, right? And so when you have affirmations that kind of hit both points, the goal and then the actions it takes to get to the goal, now you're bulletproofing your affirmations, right? Which is super, super cool. So step number 3 is you want to read your affirmations out loud every morning and every evening, okay? They're not just here to make you feel good, right? They're strategic. They have a purpose. And I love reading them in the morning. But the cool thing, the disadvantage to only reading them in the morning is you read them in the morning and then just like life hits you, right? And you're busy and you're working and you've got kids and you've got your job and you've got, dishes to unload and laundry to do and all the things. When you read them at night, right before you go to sleep, it's almost like you fall asleep thinking about solutions to your affirmations, right? Like you fall asleep and you just let your little brain do its thing. I don't know if anybody else has like work dreams while they're like, I've built entire downlines in my sleep before, you guys. Like, sometimes we go to sleep thinking about a goal or we're all excited about it and we actually dream about it. And that's kind of cool. So think about if you went to sleep every night and the last thing you really thought about before falling asleep were your affirmations. So step number 3 is just to schedule time each day, once in the morning, once in the evening. It takes you 30 seconds, right? It doesn't take very long. And read your affirmations out loud. And if your family members think you're weird, tell them to get over it. Or if they really think you're weird, just go do it in another room where they can't hear you. But my husband listens to me read my affirmations all the time and he smiles and he doesn't ever say anything because he knows better. But I think he probably thinks I'm a little silly, but
but I'll tell you what happened. Anyway, right? But I'll tell you an example. I mean, or a story on that. I know like my son, who's now 22, back when I was trying to encourage him to do affirmations, and this was when he was in high school. So you can imagine a high school boy and trying to tell him to do affirmations. He was like, I don't want any part of it. Well, one day I go up to his bedroom. This is when his room was upstairs. And I go upstairs to whatever, maybe take some laundry up there, who knows. Anyway, I go upstairs, which I did very seldom, and he had a bulletin board, and half the bulletin board was actually a bulletin board, and the other half was a whiteboard. And he had affirmations written on the whiteboard. And guess what, guys? Everything he had written out became a reality. Like, these are things that, and I didn't ask him about it that day, but I did later. And he was like, well, yeah, you've always told me to do it. So I did. I mean, like, and I didn't make fun of him. I wanted to, because he made fun of me and I wanted to tease him about it. But it was so funny. And then the other night, my husband and him were having a conversation about his plans, and some things come up for him. And my husband said, you know what? Remember your mom talking to you about making some affirmations? Maybe you need to revisit that. And so they're listening. Like, they're watching, they're listening, they're picking up on it more than you realize they are. Even if they're making fun of you about it, they're still listening. So
I updated my vision board the other day, and I was sitting at the dining room table, and I had printed out all these pictures, and I was gluing them onto this big poster board, like a high school science project style. And my husband was looking, and he goes, well, are you going to put one of those Mercedes Sprinter vans on there? And I was like, oh, you want me to? And he was like, well, I mean, yeah, we want one of those, right? And so it made me laugh that you're so right. Like, my husband had no knowledge of entrepreneurship or network marketing or vision or how to write out affirmations or anything like that before we met. That was like, it was a totally like foreign concept to him. And it is cool how when you just talk about it anyway, your family slowly starts to pick up on it, which is really neat. So.
Yeah, you don't have to harp on it. You don't have to try to convince them. You just mention it and they're listening. And now this is a really important one. Again, I was talking to a coaching client about this yesterday, and she was telling me about some of her goals, some of her vision. She was reading off to me some of her affirmations. And I asked her, I said, so when did you write these? Because her problem was, what she was telling me where she was struggling is she just was finding herself not being inspired to get up and do the work anymore. So I was like, so we started talking about goals, vision, affirmations. And she said, oh, I don't know. I did these way back when I first started in Freedom Seeker University. I don't know, what module was that? And we started talking about it. And I was like, okay, you've been here a while. Have you updated them? And she was like, no, I didn't know. I guess I missed that step. Which is easy to do, right? Because you have them and then you go on to the next module, or you go on to the next lesson, or you go on to the next book. And so I said, you know what? When they stop inspiring you, you need to take like a weekend and you need to update all the stuff. Not that it'll take all weekend, but my point is, schedule the time over a weekend and say, okay, I'm going to update my vision. I'm going to update my goals. I'm going to update my affirmations. I just did all this last weekend, and we were discussing. I was telling her, I said, you know what? I am so excited to like get my morning routine going every morning again, because these are new, they're fresh, they're exciting. There were things on my old affirmations I had that, like, I was just reading them, but I no longer even wanted those things to be a reality. And so if it's not something you don't want anymore, what happens? It's not inspiring. Instead, it's just, kind of dull and boring. So you want to update them every 30, 60, 90 days. I'm not going to say exactly, but somewhere in there. Sometimes you may find you need to do it once a month. And then you may see that, oh, you know what? These things are so powerful. They may last you for 90 days. You don't know. You just got to, anytime you start feeling like you're not inspired anymore, I want you to stop and update them.
Well, and I remember, back in 2016, I went through a divorce. I sold my house. I moved into this 1-bedroom apartment. And it took me a little while to feel like putting together a new vision board after that. But one of the things I did was this beautiful kitchen with an island that looked out into the living room. And I noticed the other day, it took me a while to figure it out. It's really funny. My husband and I now have been in our house for 1.5 years. And I walked into the kitchen and I was like, there's my kitchen. There's my island. It's bigger than the one in my picture on my vision board. Like, it's actually better than the one that I had on my vision board. And I was like, man, I need to update my kitchen vision, right? Because our goal is to stay in this house for 3 to 4 more years and then, move into our dream house. And so over here on my vision board now, I've got a kitchen with 2 islands. Guess I was like, I want more kitchen space.
Everyone needs 2 islands, not just one island.
And so it was really funny though, but sometimes I think our visions and our affirmations come true and we don't even hardly notice, right? It's like you look down and all of a sudden one day you're like, wow, I have that. Or like you said, I don't even really care about that anymore. So that's why updating them is so, so important. So if you're wanting some ideas, you're wanting some inspiration, we put together 20 entrepreneur affirmations. And if you've downloaded this resource before, it's been really fully updated this week for you guys. So I highly recommend you go grab it again. But 20 entrepreneur affirmations. And what you can do is you can take some of these and wrap them into your own affirmation routine, or maybe you just want to see the format that we use for creating affirmations and use that formula for creating your own. There's some really good ones in there, though, some really good ideas for entrepreneurs. So definitely, I want to encourage you to go over to globalfreedomcommunity.com/53 and download that resource. Yes, a really big kitchen island. I agree. I'm like, yeah, I need a big, big one. That's my one over here. Well, I don't know if you guys have seen Mom's kitchen island. Like, it's like the size of my old bedroom, man. That thing's huge. I think you could put a queen size mattress in the middle of it. It's huge. And so, yeah, definitely I need an island that's like Mom's island for sure. So, but yeah, head over, you guys, download the free resource. And then question of the week. Mom, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah. So have you ever used affirmations? We asked you this earlier, but maybe you're watching the replay and we want to know, have you ever used affirmations? And if not, are you going to start? Or if so, maybe you've gotten a little slack in it. So are you going to start back? Okay. Mm-hmm. So are you going to do these affirmations? And one thing we did mention that I want to touch on right before we leave is make sure you've got affirmations, remember, in every area of your life. You can break this down, okay, into your health, your wealth, your finances, your family. I mean, you can pick those areas, your faith, okay? You want to make sure that you really like break it down and have a few affirmations for each one, okay? Make sure that you're not, like the way that you get balance is that you look for all those areas of your life. Think of the area of like the wheel, a big wheel, like on a bicycle wheel, spokes. And you want to make sure that you're touching on your health, your wealth. And maybe they're not going to be exactly balanced, but you want to have 3 to 5 affirmations in each area so that you're not just focused on your business and then your health goes to pot, right? Or because I've been there. I have been where I was so focused on my business. One day I got to the point that the tension in my neck was so tight, and it was from sitting at the computer too much. Okay. And then I got rid of that. And I looked up one day and I was like, you know what? I had gotten where I had gotten better about it. And now the tension's in my lower back. And then again, it comes from, just sitting too much, not walking enough, not moving enough. So you got to have that balance. So I made sure I added in those affirmations that talked about that I'm moving my body every day, getting in, staying hydrated, making healthy food choices. So you want it in all areas and in your wealth and in your family. Like you don't want to let anything slip by that's important to you.
Well, and it's funny, back in, again, going back to that old divorce story, Mom told me one day, she said, because I had been single for a while, and she was like, why don't you make some affirmations about finding, your person?
Yeah, I'm like, come on, Jordan.
I know. She's like, Jordan, come on, you need to get on the ball here. And I told her, I said, because I know when I do that, I'm going to find them. And I'm not quite ready to find them yet. And she was like, okay, that's weird, but whatever. And sure enough, I made affirmations. I tell my husband this all the time. I tease him. I said, I affirmed you into my life because I made a list of affirmations, and I didn't get fancy with it. I actually just used my iPhone and the notes section, and I wrote out like 5 little affirmations of what I was happy and grateful to have in, the qualities of my person. And literally less than 45 days after I made that list, my husband and I went on our first date. And so it was pretty funny. And he's got all those qualities and some I didn't even think about. So it's pretty funny. They work.
Like Jordan had mentioned, we moved into a new home. And the other day when I was updating my affirmations and I was going through and I was reading the affirmation that was, we live in our dream home, which is our country home in town, meaning I wanted to be like the country, but I wanted to be in town. I wrote out and described everything. Guess what, guys? It was to a T, everything I listed out. And here's the cool thing. My reality in my mind, I was like, you know what? My husband read it one day and he goes, honey, it's going to take us $10 million to build your dream home. I mean, he was just laughing about all the things I wanted. It wasn't even close. I mean, not even close. In fact, our house, well, the first time we walked into it, we looked at it and like, oh, well, this is like outside of our budget. Well, guess what? 4 months later, they had lowered the price by $200,000. And we ended up being able to buy it, do some remodeling. We're doing some more remodeling. Who would have thought that within just and I mean, it's everything that we listed. So, don't be afraid to write those
things. It was a
out.
weird list, you guys. Like I looked at your list and I said, Mom, I don't even think that house exists. I think you're going to have to build it from scratch. And she was like, no, I'm going to find it. It's out there. And what do you know? There it was. You found it. And so
we needed 3 offices. What home has space for 3 offices? But there's 3 of us that work from home. And she was like, Mom, no house is going to have 3 offices. And I was like, oh, yes, it is. Somewhere.
Yep.
It's funny. So we had some weird things for sure.
Awesome. Well, you guys, we had so much fun hanging out with you today. Thanks for hanging with us. Don't forget to go grab our 20 Entrepreneur Affirmations at globalfreedomcommunity.com/53. And then we'll see you guys right back here next week for another episode of Coffee with K&J. Bye,
everybody.